7 rules you must know before attending a classical concert. I hope this video doesn't come out as pretentious or elitist, but after almost 2 decades of attending classical music concerts all over the world, I feel like there are some things that need to be said to certain attendees. Now, even if you're a veteran concert goer and are familiar with the setting, I recommend you still watch the video. This is also targeted to people who infrequently attend concerts or are attending for the first time. Rule number 1, know your role as the audience. Yes, that's right. You as an audience member have an important role that can make or break a concert. You should be well aware that when you enter a concert hall and the concert begins, you're part of a controlled silence. I know controlled silence in a large group setting isn't easy to achieve, but that is what's required of you. Think of yourself as part of an ensemble, and what's on the screen right now is what you're performing. You should be aware that the musicians on stage performing have dedicated years upon years upon years of agonizing practice to be where they are, and in order to allow them to offer you the best that they can to reflect what they have, you need to play your role in being silent. Every sound matters, from the instruments involved to the acoustics of the hall. This is the first reason of why you should stay silent. The second reason is that you're going to be disturbing the concert goers, who probably spent a lot of money on tickets and dedicated time or a commute to come to take in the full experience of a live performance. I kid you not, I once almost had an aneurysm because a finely ornamented lady's phone rang out loud. She let it ring, got up from the middle of the stalls, made everyone to her right get up so she can pass through, then began clanking her way out of the hall with her high heels. Her every step echoed across the entire hall in fortissimo in the middle of the slow second movement of Rachmaninoff's second concerto. So try your very best, unless it's an actual emergency, to avoid getting up in the middle of a performance. If you're sick, simply don't show up. One, your body probably needs to rest, and you won't be able to focus. 2, you're probably going to infect anyone within your radius. And 3, the act of coughing is contagious. Once you start coughing, everyone else will do the same. So don't be selfish. Stay comfortable at home, listen to the recording on your device instead while sipping tea and honey. If you already have a ticket, make someone else's day by giving it to them or just sell it. But don't come. Remember, this is not karaoke. If a familiar tune starts playing, there's absolutely no need for you to hum, sing, or tap along. I promise you, no one will be impressed that you know this. Leave that to the professionals on stage. Keep in mind, your program notes are not a percussion instrument. Programs and sheet music are great, but flipping pages loudly can be a real distraction, especially in softer passages. Some people aggressively fold or shuffle their programs mid-performance. I mean, I know you're bored, but let the others around you enjoy the show. If you're reading along, turn pages gently and at the right moments. So please be wary of any unsolicited sound that can come out from you during a performance. It will impact the performers and the audience. Rule number 2. Phones. Every reputable concert hall has a mobile phone switched off and no photography signs plastered all over the place. This is for a very good reason. First of all, you don't have any right whatsoever to be in possession of that sound. That sound is either meant to be performed live or recorded professionally. Secondly, taking your phone out, pointing the camera towards the stage is 100% distracting to the audience, whether with a flash or not. Trust me, that poorly filmed Instagram story is going to be skipped in as fast as a thumb can click a screen. No one cares. It absolutely has no value. You're not even going to listen to it. Don't do it. Make your memory before or after the concert, but never during. So make sure you turn your phones off and not just put them in silent mode, otherwise the entire hall will hear your vibrations. Rule number 3, dress code. Now, I've been to concert halls all over the world over many years. I'll tell you this with absolute certainty. The myth of having to dress up with full ballroom swag to a concert is what it is, a myth. There is the odd exception of halls in Russia where the Russians themselves attend in an outrageously elegant way, expect ladies in heels, cocktail dresses, and maxed out bling from top to bottom, like it was a Cartier photo shoot, as if the weather isn't freezing outside. Now, I'm not saying they won't let you in if you're not fully swagged out yourself, but at least in these places, avoid wearing sneakers and jeans and other sportswear. As for the rest of the world, the dress code is very relaxed and comfortable. Maybe the only instance where they won't let you in is if you come in wearing shorts and flip-flops. So as a rule of thumb, there's no strict dress code unless it's something like a gala show, but at least try to wear something nice. Rule number 4. Always try to show up early. You'll get to examine the halls, take photos, have some snacks beforehand, then find your seats comfortably. You gotta know that most of these seats are tightly spaced, meaning that if you show up right before the show starts and you're seated at the middle, you're going to make half the row get up to make way for you to squiggle yourself to your seat. If you show up after the show starts, most halls won't let you in until a piece ends and not a movement. So if they're starting with a symphony, you're gonna have to wait until it ends. Some places let people in after the end of a movement, resulting in an influx of people coming in trying to find their seats and making seated people get up at the start of a second movement, which usually requires the most contemplation. Rule number 5. Clapping. So there are instances where you shouldn't clap and there are instances where you really should. Here's when not to clap. So the virtuoso soloist did something fantastic. Or the orchestra blasted out a powerful tuddy. The natural human reaction to live feats of marvel is to clap. The thing about clapping is that it's super contagious and it only takes one person to start doing it before you get an epidemic. If you're attending a classical concert, under no circumstances is it acceptable to clap during a performance whatsoever, not even between movements, even if a movement ends bombastically. Now, in earlier centuries, clapping between movements was normal, but today's etiquette generally discourages it. Some contemporary composers actually encourage clapping between movements. For example, Leonard Bernstein told audiences to react naturally. So it's not always a crime, but for most classical repertoire, it's best to wait. Every time I attend a performance of Tchaikovsky's Sixth Symphony, I always wager with the people I'm with that the audience will clap after the third movement, which feels like a strong ending to a symphony. And most times I'm right. The only audience I've been in who knew not to clap were that of the concertgoer. And honestly, for a symphony like this, not clapping really makes a difference as the third movement transitions to the tragic fourth movement. So be patient until the soloist or conductor make it clear, and they usually do, that the piece is over. And here's when you should clap. If you're attending a ballet, for example, because ballerinas and ballerinos are so calorically malnourished and generally love attention, they do feed off of applause, and it's considered an integral part of their 50 calorie per day diet. I'm only joking, but generally in ballets, it's acceptable to clap after they perform an outstanding move. Otherwise, save the applause till the very end. Go all out, seriously. Cheer, scream, shout, stomp, whistle, go full hooligan. Not only is this an indicator that you enjoyed the show and would make the musicians feel good, but the louder the applause is, the more chances there are that you'll get more encores. Even if they go backstage, keep at it. Back in the day, pianists like Horowitz or Rubinstein would give up to 9 encores after a recital because the audiences were so rabid in their applause. Obviously, if the audience was bad, for example, there's lots of coughing, phones ringing, or a lukewarm applause, the chances of encores become slimmer. Rule number 6, and I think this applies to any seated live concert. You're not at home, sit properly. Some people tend to sprawl out, take up armrests that aren't theirs, or lean forward, blocking the view of people behind them. If the concert is general admission, don't take up extra seats for coats, bags, or imaginary friends. Be mindful of personal space, keep your elbows in, and don't make any dramatic gestures during a performance. And finally, rule number 7, you're not at a picnic. Most concert halls allow drinks and lobbies, but not inside the hall. That's for a reason. Opening a crinkly snack bag, crunching on chips, or slurping a soda is incredibly distracting in a quiet hall. It's especially bad during soft passages. Imagine you're listening to the last movement of Mahler's Ninth and someone behind you is unwrapping a candy at 0.1 decibels per second. In the end, attending classical concerts is a fun and highly rewarding experience. Generally speaking, people are too polite to tell you off for minor disruptions, so it's on you to make sure that you don't ruin other people's experiences. And for that, you should be very self-conscious. If you enjoy this kind of content and would like to see more, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon button, and I'll see you in the next one.